Episode number 61 of BlackMenCarpool. I am your host, Blackwax, and I got my driver in the cabin today, Zay. What's going on, my brother?
What's good, big dog?
It's all good, man. It's been a couple of weeks, but we back in the saddle.
Yeah, we sure are.
So we took a little time off. Wanted to record last week, but I kind of overslept one morning. So I take the blame for that. I'm trying to do a better job of becoming more accountable, because we have some faithful and dedicated listeners. And I was looking at our stats yesterday, and we haven't even recorded anything for the month of December. And we already have several listeners, people that are downloading our content. So I want to be faithful to those people and give them what they want, give them what they need, give them what they came for.
Saucy. Yeah, we're starting to get a little of a following, and we need to be more consistent with our shows so our listeners could go ahead and continue to support us and add value.
No doubt. So at the beginning of the year, we're definitely going to commit to a once a week recording schedule. For the rest of this month, it's going to be kind of hit and miss because I know I'm going to be on vacation for about a week and a half. But we still may be able to record because I'm going to be local. I'm not going anywhere for Christmas. So speaking of the holidays, how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, Thanksgiving was low key. We didn't do too much. Just hung out, had a friend come over of the family who we have kind of a love-hate relationship. But it's always fun seeing a friend of the family, I suppose. And that was it, man. Just ate a lot of food and just drank some good eggnog with the Tennessee whiskey in it, so you can't beat that on a cold day like this. But yeah, man, what about you?
We went to Marble Falls, Texas. It's right outside of Austin. It's like a small community. It's like a lake town, and we stayed at a lake house with my wife's family. So it was like 10 adults and probably 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of us. In the lake house. It was a nice place. It was very, very nice. I was impressed. It's a little chilly, so we didn't really get out and do any water activities. But it was fun to get away. We ate good and watched plenty of football and drank a little bit. And we took a little excursion. We went to the Longhorn Caverns, and about 15 minutes up the road north of Marble Falls. And I tell you, man, Texas has so many treasures, so many natural sights and things to see and do. It's a great state. So we did all that. My wife kept her Black Friday shopping to a minimum, which I'm very happy about that. Granted, we had this small rental car. I kept telling her, no, we don't have room. We don't have room. We can't take that stuff back. Can't get it. We don't have room. We have to wait. So I got a little bit of victory, for Black Friday.
Good.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving was good. It is officially in the coffers. Now we're trying to get ready for Christmas, and I'm hoping we can keep it low key as well. I'm looking forward to the holidays because I need some time to recharge my batteries and do a little bit of nothing because I feel like I'm moving around all the time.
Yeah, rest is important.
Rest is super, super important. And so you got to have a balance in life.
Sure do.
It's very, very important. If you don't have a balance, it's hard to get the maximum output from your efforts when you don't have that good work-life balance. We're not getting enough rest and enough, good food and, water. And, you got to stay hydrated. You got to stay rested up. And so you can get out and perform every day. So, on that note, I have become a YouTube junkie over the last couple of weeks, man.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my God. Just I almost feel guilty because I spend so much time on YouTube. But it's kind of what I do back and forth when I'm driving to work. If we're not carpooling, I'm on YouTube listening. I'm not watching while I'm driving. I'm just listening to some content on business and finance and art, and I've been watching a lot of sneaker videos. And I happened to listen to this podcaster. This guy name is Lewis Howe, Howe. He has a podcast called The School of Greatness. Mm-hmm. So he also has, a video blog, a vlog, whatever you want to call it, or a podcast on YouTube. And so I don't think that he does those in two separate instances. I think he probably does the video and then just strips it and puts it on audio format as well, making good use of his time. But anyway, he interviews some very high level achievers, and the title kind of caught my attention. He interviewed Rob Drydek, the skateboarder guy from MTV. He had a show called Big and Rob, and I always knew this guy was pretty smart. He came from humble beginnings and kind of just made his way into a household name.
Yeah.
No formal education whatsoever, and what really intrigued me was, he had a shoe deal with DC Shoes, and he asked to be put through the same thing that the designers had to go through. He wanted to go through all the training, all of the excuse me. He wanted to go through all the steps that it took for a shoe to become from a drawing on a piece of paper to the sales office, or you have to sell it to upper management, to actually going out to stores. So he designed over 30 shoes for DC Shoes, and he was getting royalties on 30 different shoes. Nice. Until a company took them over, and then he had to renegotiate his contract after that. But I was pretty impressed with that. And I've read here recently that he no longer has a relationship with DC Shoes. They've moved on, he's moved on, and he's really a full-fledged entrepreneur.
Question.
Okay.
Whatever happened to Big?
That's a good question. They didn't go into that in the interview.
Dang it. He need to spend some of that entrepreneur life into Big, because he may be bouncing still.
Well, I know they had some kind of falling out. I don't know all the details of that.
Dang it.
But he did give the brother an opportunity.
Sure did.
Shine.
Put him on the map. That's cool.
Put him on the map. And then he had like his own clothing line, like that BB or something.
Big Bone.
Yeah, but Rob, he's a very, very smart cat. And on his website, I learned that he has 10 core values. And I thought they were very descriptive, very thorough. And I want to read them, and then we can talk about them.
All right.
So the first value is he is obsessively curious. He's also passionately compelled. He's also relentlessly consistent.
That's what it's about.
And I'm pulling up the next value. Profoundly grounded. We'll talk about that because he's definitely worth $45 million. Magnetically inspiring.
Yeah, come alive.
Perpetually optimizing. What is this one? Honestly brilliant. Compulsively dependable. Holistically creative. And fanatically detailed. So those are his core values. I want to talk about the second one, passionately compelled. So he has this, he likes to work with entrepreneurs that are what he calls do-or-diers. Mm-hmm. Do-or-diers are possessed by a hunger that never wavers. They are self-driven, by any means necessary creators. They are blinded by a non-stop desire to fulfill their passion to their limits and beyond. In his own words, he says, "I never needed fuel. I never needed anything to drive me forward. Since I was a kid, I was relentlessly self-driven. I always have been obsessed with creation, be it media or new company. The feeling that I get from transforming an idea into reality will fuel me forever. The appetite to create something bigger and better never goes away. A do-or-dyer never feels satisfied. The plan isn't to be satisfied. Every day is truly do or die. Fueled by strong faith in our ideas, do-or-dyers never stop pushing." What do you think about that?
I think that hits it right on the head. I think, for one, you have to be extremely, you have to be consistent. But before that, you have to know what you have to be consistent at.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you actually figure out where you're going and how to get there, it all comes down to the do or die, the drive behind it. Because nothing in life worth having is going to come easy.
Right.
So that's the main point with this, is that drive. It's good to have drive, but you have to have direction. You have to have direction, and if you're going to have direction, you're going to need drive. It's a two-part component.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have one without the other, because you could very well be driven, but then find yourself on a treadmill and just be going over and over and over. And what happens is you end up that spark, that light that you had, you end up burning it out. And corporate America is a great example of that. The reason why is because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll get a young kid out of school and they'll put them in what's called a leadership development program. And because these kids come in really fired up, really want to make a change, they're just extremely outgoing and driven and willing to take on any task that's going to get them to get their name out there. So what happens is they end up getting promoted for less money than the person probably before them was working in that role. And the dream is you keep on working hard, you're going to finally get to where you're going to go. However, in corporate America, it's easy to get sidewinded by something else, and in life too. However, that driven part, you really need some direction, because again, you don't want to end up on a treadmill. You want to make sure the efforts that you're given you're gonna benefit from them. And then the other part is the vision. You could be all over the place and have just wild vision and have a really good vision of what you would like to do. However, when the rubber meets the road, do you have the drive to keep going? Because again, nothing in life worth having comes easy. So again, it's a two-part component, and you need to have both of them.
Yeah, so one thing that really impressed me was in this interview, he talked about having goals in stages. So in understanding to reach your goal, you have to get to the first stage. And then that stage is taken to the second stage, and to the third stage.
Yep.
So he was very, very practical in his mindset, and you can tell that he's a very seasoned business person. I mean, the interview was just phenomenal. And if you read the comments, everyone was really blown away on how great the interview was. And that really impressed me because, I don't know how many losses he's taken, but, his drive was not without direction. He knew that in order to achieve what he wanted to achieve, he had to do it in phases. He had to, learn as he went. He had to learn what was expected, what was needed, and then he did everything that was required to achieve the first goal and ultimately to so his whole thing is he really don't want to run businesses. He just wants to get involved with the entrepreneurs at the ground level to help build the businesses up, to sell them, and then move on and do it again. And I kind of feel that so much because that's the most exciting part of business. When you got a great idea, you got a Facebook, you got a Mixcloud, you got a SoundCloud, you got a Uber, something that is really, really exciting at the beginning, and it can stay exciting throughout the life of the business. But I feel like the most exciting part is at the very beginning, where you just building momentum. You got a new, fresh idea, and you're running with it. And so, I like his whole venture capital philosophy on how he just wants to get involved from the ground up to help build the business, and then work his exit strategy and keep doing that over and over again.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to Rob Drydek. You definitely dropped some jewels on us this week. And so we're going to move on to a next topic. We're going to jump right on into sports. You asked me earlier if I jumped on the Cowboys bandwagon. And I did jump on the Dallas Cowboy 2016-2017 bandwagon.
Riding the wave.
Yes, sir. I've always said that I'm a fair weather Dallas Cowboy fan. This year, they have really, really, really impressed me. They haven't, stunk it up on the fourth quarter. They've been clutch. They followed through, and they're looking really, really good on offense and defense. Defense, maybe not so much, but definitely on offense. And they've won 10, 11 games in a row. And so this weekend is going to be a big test when they play the New York Giants.
Yeah, the only team they had their loss to, and in addition to that, New York Giants have always been their crux. And the last few years that New York won, especially against the Patriots, New York should never even been in the playoffs. But Dallas let them in, and then New York went on to beat New England, who had almost a perfect season, but then lost the Super Bowl. How you gonna win it all, but not win the last game of the season?
What year you talking about?
2006.
Okay, yeah, that was a while ago.
And whew, boy, I know that was a tough loss, because you went the whole season undefeated. And the game that matters the most, the reason why you even put on the pads in the first place as a young man, is to play in the Super Bowl, and they lost it. And it's all due to the Dallas Cowboys letting them in. So, Cowboys are on the run, man.
They're definitely on the run. You think any of the Cowboys are in line for MVP for the year?
No. And the reason why I say that is because, in my opinion, a real MVP is when you're out, and then the backup comes in, and then they end up being on a losing streak, and then the individual who's running the streak or on that hot streak comes back in and gets them back on track. That hasn't happened with Dak Prescott, and hopefully it doesn't, because he's a great guy, and maybe he's up for MVP. But in my opinion, Tony Romo would have been someone who, I guess, if he would have brought the team up to standards to where if he would have been Dak Prescott and then he would have been out and Dak couldn't handle the workload, then I'd say he was the MVP, because obviously when he's out, the team does worse. And so even though Dak Prescott and Zeke in the backfield have done a great job, I don't think they're up for MVP this year.
So not even Zeke.
I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't win it. I just don't think that they would be the MVP, in my opinion. And I could more than likely be missing the mark on that. However, I think they need a little bit more tenure in their belt to really get that MVP. But who knows?
Well, there are some polls. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. There are some polls saying that Tom Brady is still favored to win the MVP.
Yes. And the reason why is because he was out for X amount of games and they didn't do nearly as hot as when he's in. And so, therefore, when he came back, they start winning games again.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of solidifies your point.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I haven't been keeping up with as much NFL news as I would like to, but I read a headline, is this the end for Tom Brady? Is he on the decline right now?
That's a great question. He's on the back end, and I think this year he has an opportunity to make it back to the Super Bowl. Hopefully Gronkowski could get healthy. I don't know if he's out indefinitely. I can't remember if he was or not, but I mean Gronk's on the injured list. But they always have a solid squad, and really Tom Brady is always the heart of that team.
Yep.
And he always shows up to play. He always leaves it on the field 100%.
Yep.
And so, yes, I think he is. I think he would be a great MVP for, I guess, a candidate for MVP. But moreover, I think if he's to win one more Super Bowl, then he'll hang him up. And the thing is, they're always in the playoffs. They're always that second round team in the playoffs. And so the road to the Super Bowl certainly does go through Foxborough.
Very, very interesting. So it's going to be interesting, when we talk next week after the Cowboys play the Giants. And who does New England play this week? Do you know?
I don't know.
All right. So I guess those are two teams I'm kind of following. I'm interested in because I don't even know what New England did here recently, but I like Tom Brady. I think he's a stellar quarterback.
Yeah, and he knows when to turn it on, and I mean he's totally different. He's a totally different person when he sits in the interview table when they're asking him questions compared to when he's on the field. I mean, when he's on the field, he's hollering at coaches, he's hollering at players, he's getting people up to par. But then he has that side of him where he's really soft, mellow tone, and he filters questions very professionally, and he doesn't ever seem to lose his temper.
Relentlessly self-driven.
Yeah, exactly. He's always striving for better, to be better, in my opinion. And he's just a good example of he just kind of replicates Peyton Manning or someone who I high regards.
No doubt. So that's the only really topics that I had for this week. And it's time to give some shout-outs. And I know I'm probably putting you on the spot today. You got any shout-outs?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout-out to my wife's alma mater, Washington Huskies.
Okay.
Congratulations for making it to the Final Four of the college football realm. And they have an opportunity to play for the national championship. But again, the road to the national championship goes through Alabama. Yeah. And that's who they have to play first. So the winner of that game will be playing whoever, I think, out of Clemson and, don't get me lying, whoever the other team is in the national championship. So shout out to them Huskies.
They play on New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Yeah, shout out to Washington State. I would love to give my alma mater a shout out, but I'm a pause on that. we got some challenges.
Me too, boy.
Yeah, we got some challenges.
But you guys made it to a bowl game, and so did Colorado State. So there's nothing to be ashamed about, or.
Well, Baylor made it to a bowl game, and you can't. You got to be proud of the students, but we got such a dark cloud hanging over our head with this scandal that we're going through right now. It just makes it, it just makes it a little difficult. But I'm a diehard Baylor fan. I'm gonna ride with my school to the end, and I know we can do better as a whole entire university, as a whole entire institution. Sports come second. You should be able to send your children to school in a safe environment. And if anything were to happen, you should be able to depend on the authorities to, support you and keep you safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's important. And especially if you have a daughter, I have a daughter. You don't want to put them in a situation where they're being taken advantage of, and they could have been helped, and they didn't get the help that they needed. So that's not a good look. But we got to do better. We have got to do better. Baylor Nation. But I'm going to get off that soapbox and leave that one for Facebook. You can find us on Facebook, Mixcloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher Radio. So I'm very happy to say that. We haven't always been able to say that.
Absolutely.
So we loving being on multiple platforms.
Voiceovers. If you need a voiceover, please do let us know. We'd be more than happy to work with you.
No doubt, no doubt. So this has been episode number 61 of Black Man Carpool. We're going to come back and talk to y'all next week. Peace.
Ciao.